Ever feel like some invisible forces out there kind of
Yeah.
shaping the world around us, deciding which towns are going to thrive, which ones get left behind?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love how you put that about an invisible force because it's true. These policies, they really do. They influence everything from where those businesses decide to set up shop to, heck, what your commute's going to look like 5 years down the line.
Exactly. And that's where these policy officers come in, right? It's like they're like the architects, but instead of buildings, it's opportunity they're building,
Right.
using data, strategy, all that to build a better future for a whole region.
Yeah.
So, for those of us who aren't, fluent in urban planning jargon,
Right. Right.
what does a regional development policy officer actually do all day?
Okay, so imagine this. They're the ones digging through all the data, trying to figure out why a town might be struggling.
Okay.
Is it a lack of skilled workers? Is it is the infrastructure crumbling? They're like detectives in a way,
Yeah.
uncovering the root causes of, economic stagnation.
Hmm.
But instead of a magnifying glass, they're using spreadsheets and economic models and all that.
Okay. That's way more interesting than I pictured. So it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about using those numbers to kind of tell a story. Tell a story about a place, about the people.
Yeah.
But then what? Once they've cracked the case, how do they actually make things happen?
That's where it gets really exciting because they get to design and actually implement the solutions.
Wow.
So think about like a ghost town, totally transformed into a tech hub.
Right.
That's the kind of impact that a skilled policy officer can have. They're crafting the policies to attract the right investors. They're building communities where people actually want to live and work.
Wow. So they're kind of like economic matchmakers. Is that
That's a great way to put it.
a good way to think about it?
And it's not just about attracting new things either. It's also about nurturing what's already there.
Right.
Maybe there's a downtown area that's struggling, but it's got all this untapped potential. A policy officer could help secure funding to revitalize projects, bring in some new businesses, and just create a vibrant community hub.
This is definitely not your average desk job.
No, no.
But RoleCatcher emphasizes how collaborative this work is. So it takes a whole team to turn these visions into reality, right?
Absolutely. You've got government officials, community leaders, businesses big and small,
Yeah.
nonprofits. I mean, a good policy officer needs serious people skills
Yeah.
to pull everyone together and get them on board with the plan.
Yeah.
They're like the conductor, making sure everyone's playing in harmony.
Makes sense because even the best plan in the world won't work if nobody wants to implement it. Speaking of good plans, RoleCatcher really dives into the career path for a regional development policy officer and shows how you can go from like entry level all the way to senior leadership.
And it's a path with incredible growth potential.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your notes that you're fascinated by infrastructure projects, right?
Absolutely. Roads, bridges, public transit, all that stuff, it's fascinating to me.
Well, a junior policy officer might be analyzing traffic patterns to advocate for a new highway, while a more senior officer could be negotiating funding at like a national level.
Yeah.
So this career path really lets you think big picture and get things done.
So we've got all these different levels of policy officers, right? Each one kind of tackling regional development from a different angle. But what's the day-to-day actually look like? RoleCatcher gives us some pretty interesting examples of real people in these roles, right?
We do, yeah. And it really brings the whole career path to life.
Yeah.
For instance, they highlight an entry-level example, someone with like an economics degree and just a real passion for data analysis.
Okay.
They're hungry for experience. They're volunteering on local projects, doing internships, really getting their hands dirty while they build that resume.
Yeah. It's like they're not just waiting for opportunity to come knocking, they're building their own door. I like that. What about someone with a bit more experience, though? Someone who's, been around the block a few times.
Right. So RoleCatcher's junior policy officer example,
Yeah.
they've got a master's in public administration, some serious analytical chops.
Okay.
But what's cool is they've already got, some concrete achievements,
Yeah.
like spearheading research on multi-level governance or figuring out ways to make infrastructure improvements more efficient. They're not just talking policy, they're actually putting it into practice.
That's got to be so rewarding seeing your work have a real world impact like that. What about those at the top of their game though?
Okay. So the senior policy officer they profile. This person's like a regional development ninja.
Okay.
PhD, certifications galore. I mean, they've got the expertise to back up their strategies.
Right.
But here's the thing. At that level, it's not just about being smart. It's about making everyone else around you smarter.
Right.
So they're mentoring the junior staff, they're building bridges between different organizations, just making sure that everyone's working towards that same goal.
So it's like they become the conductor and the composer of this whole regional development orchestra, right?
Right.
Making sure all the parts are working together to create something amazing.
Exactly. And then you've got, like, the maestro, right?
Okay.
The Chief Regional Development Policy Officer. This example, they've been at it for over a decade, seen it all, and has the leadership skills to prove it.
Nah.
They're not just reacting to the latest trends or whatever. They're thinking 10 steps ahead, building relationships with players on a national and even international level, just making sure that their region is ready for whatever the future throws at them, you know?
Okay, so we're talking serious strategic thinking here, not just putting Band-Aids on problems. It sounds like this field requires a pretty unique skill set. Does RoleCatcher dive into that at all?
Oh, they definitely do.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is it goes beyond just those hard skills you'd expect. Well, sure, you need to be great with data. You got to understand those economic principles and be able to navigate policy like a pro, of course.
Right.
But RoleCatcher really emphasizes the importance of soft skills, too. You know?
Yeah.
Things like active listening, clear communication, being able to think critically.
Which makes sense when you think about it, because you're dealing with people, with communities, not just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Absolutely. They even highlight, like, the importance of emotional intelligence.
Oh, interesting.
Because you need to be able to understand all these different perspectives, build consensus, and sometimes you even have to navigate conflict. It's a surprisingly human-centered field, which I think is pretty cool.
It's like you could be the person who helped bring that new factory to town, the one creating jobs and breathing life back into the local economy.
Right.
That's got to feel pretty good.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings us to the why should you care
Yeah.
question. Because regional development, it isn't just some abstract concept, you know. It's what shapes the world around us.
It's the difference between a community that's thriving and one that's,
Right.
well, one that's struggling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It impacts everything from the availability of jobs to housing to even the quality of schools and infrastructure.
It's like, think about your own town or your own city. What are some things, you wish were different? Maybe better public transportation,
Right.
more affordable housing, or even just like more green spaces, more
Yes.
parks to enjoy.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's where the expertise of a regional development policy officer, that's where they come in.
Absolutely.
They're trained to see all those challenges, not as just inevitable problems, but as opportunities
Right.
to
Yeah.
actually make things better.
Yeah. It's about finding those solutions.
Yeah.
And, RoleCatcher, they actually give some really great advice for anyone who's interested in breaking into this field.
Oh, okay.
They emphasize the importance of continuous learning, attending workshops, joining those professional organizations,
Right.
staying up to date on all the latest trends.
So it's like they're saying, okay, you've got the passion.
Right. Yeah.
Now here are the tools.
To turn that into a career.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they even provide like a list of potential interview questions, which I thought was super helpful.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's like getting a sneak peek into the mind of the hiring manager,
Right.
like understanding what they're looking for in a candidate.
So you can walk into that interview feeling confident and prepared.
Exactly. And they don't just leave you hanging after the interview either.
Oh, good.
They highlight like additional certifications that can give you a real edge in this competitive field.
Okay.
Things like project management professional or becoming a certified economic developer.
So it's like they've created like a roadmap, basically.
From roadmap.
From your first internship to landing your dream job as a regional development policy officer. Totally. And the best part is that this career path, it can lead to so many different opportunities. You could specialize in a certain area that you're passionate about, like transportation or housing, or even branch out into like international development.
Wow.
Using your skills to make a difference on a global scale.
So it's not just about, shaping the future of your community. It's potentially like the entire world.
Exactly. Now that's a legacy worth striving for.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who's passionate about making a real difference, a tangible difference, who thrives on, collaboration and problem solving,
Right.
and who wants a career that's, both intellectually stimulating and deeply rewarding,
Yeah,
then honestly, a career in regional development might be the perfect fit.
it really might be. And with RoleCatcher's Guide, as your compass, you'll be so well equipped to navigate this field.
Absolutely. So there you have it, a deep dive into the world of regional development.
That's right.
And and the people behind the scenes who are really working hard to create a brighter future,
Yeah.
we explored the roles, the skills, the career paths, and it's all thanks to those awesome resources provided by Rolecatcher. So
It's been so fascinating. And I hope our listeners, have maybe gained a newfound appreciation for this field.
we certainly have.
Yeah.
Now here's something to chew on
Yeah.
as you go about your day.
Right.
Think about what issue in your community, in your own backyard, really keeps you up at night.
Uh,
Is it the traffic? Is it the lack of affordable housing? Or maybe your community just needs more job opportunities. Now
uh,
imagine yourself just for a second as a regional development policy officer. You've got all the knowledge, all the drive, to tackle that very issue head on.
Powerful.
What kind of impact could you make?
Right.
What solutions could you bring to the table?
The possibilities are really endless.
The possibilities are endless. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one shaping the future of your region.
Yeah.
One data-driven decision at a time.
Love it.